Good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of Voice of VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Now there's a lot to talk about this morning. Probably that's why I stuttered when I wanted to introduce myself and introduce the show, because we are passing through very interesting times in Nigeria as Wike, Umahi and others to present Tinubu's achievements in faraway United Kingdom. Oh well, I think Nigeria has become the eighth wonder of the world, both ancient and modern.
What do you expect?
I'm speechless.
Yeah, you shouldn't be speechless, Chukwuma. They need to take it to London and then tell, okay, these are the achievements, what we never achieved all this while. 2 years, this president have been in office, and they wouldn't want Nigerians to see. Remember they say we are blind and we are deaf and dumb, we can't see. So why do you expect them to give that or show us what those things are about? But all the same, away from that, PDP is in ICU. It may not survive if Saraki's reconciliation team fails, and that's coming from Suswam, as Nigerians are calling on opposition to help Nigerians at this point in time look into the affairs of the present ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, and their principles. I am Fina Okechukwu.
And also, we'll be looking at statements from the World Bank as they call for complete transfer of fuel subsidy gains to Federation account. World Bank. Okay, I just have to end it that way. I'm Moses Humphrey, welcoming you to the program today. Yes, of course, it promises to be interesting. As speechless as these headlines might make you feel, not to worry. You have a chance to, of course, let us know what you think. A number will scroll on your screen. With that number, you can send us messages letting us know how you feel. And of course, you can always engage us on social media. Our handles are out there. All of that will be scrolling on the screen. But let's take a look at some of the issues that Nigerians are talking about. Now, the Federal Executive Council has endorsed a group life assurance scheme for President Bola Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, ministers, and other key government officials. Now, this announcement was made by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Walton Jack, and it was made on Monday after the 6th FEC meeting of the year. Now, she stated that the scheme is intended to provide financial support to the next of kin of any covered official in the event of death. The music of Michael Jackson comes to mind. Speechless. That's how you
Okay, so when I said I was speechless, you now feel me. You feel me when I said I was speechless.
I do. But interesting times. Well, there are a lot of sides to this. It's not new. It's not new the world over. Some countries have schemes like this. I mean, these are public officers. Public officers. That's what they are. So in places like Canada, the UK, the US, even South Africa, they have schemes like this. But the major concern here is with the kind of economy we have, with the kind of poverty in Nigeria, in a situation whereby civil servants are not being paid what they are promised. A lot of civil servants have not been given the 70,000 naira minimum wage. A lot of civil servants have not been paid that across Nigeria. A lot of civil servants have their pension deductions taken from them and may never get it after retirement until they die. We know how the pension scheme works. A lot of civil servants, we see senior citizens go for verification every now and then just to collect the stipends that is due onto them. And when they pass on, nothing is left. Insurance scheme. A lot of companies will tell you they have, health insurance that covers these people, but how many people benefit from these things? It feels like Nigerians, just got people into government to continually serve them. That's what it feels like. Like the rest of us are just here to serve the government officials. And now these are people whose pay we don't even know. about. Now, the health insurance scheme in other climes is about 3 times your basic earnings, about 3 times of it. Do we even know how much they earn? Can we say categorically that this is how much the president earns? I'm not talking about other perks of office, you know, the basic pay. We've been debating that for some time now, and now these people they're living in comfort already. The president flies in a very luxurious aircraft, drives in a very luxurious car, and then if peradventure anything happens while in office, not just the president, everybody, the other names mentioned, the other officials, their family members would get 3 times what they've been earning to cushion the effect of the loss. Nigerians, I think the onus is on Nigerians to, determine the leaders that they want in the coming days.
Interestingly, indeed, when people say they are speechless, I was actually looking for what to say at this point in time regarding this particular news. Some persons were on X defending this. Some people were of the opinion that yes, they are working tirelessly and making sure that Nigeria as a nation is being pushed forward. So why wouldn't they enjoy more even when they are no more? And the first question I have to ask someone who said that I had to ask yesterday was, I hope you know that the president and governors of Nigeria past, that's ex-presidents and governors still receive, yes, they still receive something. Even when they are no longer, within the corridors of power. And now, another thing or another question I asked was, how much are we looking at this point in time? Like Moses rightly pointed out, you don't even know what the salary of your president is. You don't even know what the salary of your governors are. And yet, at this point in time, they will also be receiving a life insurance that will be paid to the next of kin. And when you talk about Senate climb, like I want to use that word, there's data to follow when you want to make all these payments and every other thing that should be their benefit or they are to be entitled to, as people that have ruled Nigeria, people that have, made Nigerians, their voices be heard and all that. But the first thing I want to say is, I wouldn't want to see every other arm of government in Nigeria to be more like a rubber stamp. FEC, 6th meeting. Did the Wilson Jack come up to tell Nigerians that it was on Monday that it was already, they have to come up with that particular agreement, that they are going to place, from this point in time now, the president and selected few other persons on life insurance, for if anything is to happen to them. And FEC could not sit down to understand that Nigerians at this point in time are not even living again, if I'm to use that word. We have so many things that we're grappling with. Apart from the economic issues that Moses rightly pointed out, Nigerians are made to live in IDP camps. Nigerians who are supposed to be enjoying themselves in their ancestral homes are dying in drones because of insecurity, because of things that some persons have also pointed fingers to. What is being man-made, they are dying, and you people are not looking to that direction. Nigerians, as a case maybe, can't even boast of having, affordable HMOs where they can walk in and they'll be treated while they are alive. And then you're selecting few persons, even appointed officials, if I'm to use that word. Now we have persons like the chief of staff, being appointed by the president also to receive these benefits. Not just elected members now. We're looking at people that are being handpicked to put within the corridors of power also to benefit from the life insurance, which is being sponsored by taxpayers' money, and sometimes also borrowed money too. Where are we really headed to? What is really happening?
Yes, Fina, I think we are headed to a very good direction because the people deserve the leadership that they get. There are many talking points as far as this is concerned, but the first thing I would like to say is that, look, I think there should be a limit, to the kind of primordial greed that people should express in public office, because this is nothing more than greed. And another question to ask is, this life assurance, what happens if the person serves out his term and nothing happens to him? Because the way insurance does is that it has a, technically speaking, the person goes home with that. In addition to his retirement benefits in addition to his pension. I like the fact that both of my colleagues here mentioned about ex-heads of state who are also receiving pension as we speak. So in all of this, and Fena said something about Femi Bajabiamila, who, by the way, is just a chief of staff. There's no constitutional provision for that role in our books. You know, it's a creation, it's an invention of the American system. But we copied it. I'm yet to find out, and I know very well that he doesn't have provision in our constitution. But he's there now, and he's going to be entitled to life assurance so that in case something happens to him in the line of duty, now he gets compensated, his family gets compensated 3 times to the value of a certain premium. Now, in actual sense, who should actually have life assurance policy in this country? Shouldn't our soldiers that are taking both friendly and enemy fires in the battlefield, are they not the ones that are actually entitled to life assurance? Do they have that? Moses, do you have an idea? Fina, you have an idea if our soldiers have life assurance policies? It was raised the other time. I think they tinkered with it. I don't know whether it's been implemented or not. If it's been implemented, it's a good thing. But if you ask me, this one is one too many. And unfortunately, before you know it, governors, state governors, ministries, okay, ministers are already involved in all of this. So don't be surprised that tomorrow you see governors, you know, roll out life assurance policies for themselves, their families, their commissioners, and all of that. So, Fina, you asked a question. I'm also asking Nigerians the question. Where are we headed to in all of this?
That's a big question that all of us will need to answer. And this is not a time to say, no, politics, I don't have anything to do with politics. I don't have anything to say. As a matter of fact, this is time for you to wake up and be up and doing so that they will not say that Nigerians are docile. I learned that the power lies within the corridors of power. You know, the power lies within the youth and how they're able to handle the next generation. Because if you're just there and you're being docile, believe me, it will get to a point you won't have anything to give to your children. Away from that, Prince Bemisola Obadeyi, the Southwest Secretary of the Police Campaign Against Cultism and Other Vices, has attributed the failure of 1.5 million candidates in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination to the negative impact of cultism, internet fraud, and social media abuse. He noted that these distractions have significantly undermined students and the academic focus, leading to poor performance. Obadeyi highlighted that cultism, particularly rampant in educational institutions, involves rituals and violent initiations that divert students' attention from their studies. Quite, this is more like a revelation. You know, Nigerians or people are beginning to ask questions. What really happened? Why is it that we're having mass failure? You know, in just, I think it was last month or thereabout that they wrote this jam, and then there was a mass failure. Persons that were able to get above 200 were just few, and 1.5 million candidates, you know, could not even get up to 200, you know, which happened to be our cutoff mark. And a whole lot of persons are pointing fingers to so many things. Here, we're getting that the reason for the mass failure, you know, should be the negative impact of cultism, internet fraud, and social media abuse and all that. But we have students also who are crying that there is no network for them to be able to finish their exams. Some are also talking about network, what's it called, the technical glitches also that they experience, you know, in some CBT. We saw a video of how some students who are already upset, who are grieved, decided to destroy chairs and every other thing made available to them to write exam because of technical glitches that they experienced during the CBT UTME. Now that some persons are talking about these things to be the reason, some also have also faulted the curriculum that we're using. You know, saying that it is cliche, it's an old one, it's an archaic one, we should find a way to work around it, you know, get new ones and be more innovative so that Nigerian students will go out there, write their exams and, you know, prosper. That was a question someone asked yesterday, and that question I want to ask it again today, Chukuma. Why is it that Nigerian students in Nigeria will not do well according to what we're getting, but the moment they leave the shores of Nigeria and get somewhere else, we found out they'll be coming out with first class and distinctions.
Yeah, the learning environment here is not conducive.
Better. So the person who is pointing to the other vices that he made mention of, Yahoo, internet does, internet fraud, cultism impact and all that. I hope he also should factor in the learning environment not being conducive to be what made some students fail during that UTME.
Oh, well, yes, some of those things mentioned have contributed in lack of concentration in academics on the part of students, but I read through his statement. Most of it borders on tertiary institutions. You know, he talked about cultism in the higher institutions. These things exist. These are prevailing problems. We even have cultism in secondary schools. So students are, you know, not really concentrating. Now, cultism in itself is a problem that we should deal with. It's bedeviling Nigeria at this point in time, and it's something that everyone should, you know, deal with, from the home front to the government. Everyone should deal with it. But besides all that have been said, we also know that lack of concentration largely is caused by the use of mobile phones. Right now, with the way things have become in the world, a lot of children are given mobile phones early in life. They're given tabs. Now, these things, research has shown that these things reduce concentration. These things they may provide quick learning. You know, you can just type in something and see what you type, see and get an answer to it immediately. But then it hampers retention, as against when you flip the pages of a book. In places like Sweden, in I think 1990 or 1996 or thereabouts, the Swedish government decided to phase out hard copy books and introduce digital learning. And then some years down the line, in about, was it last year? Yeah, 2024, they realized that, look, the educational level of students dipped, concentration dipped, failure was the order of the day. And they decided, let's have a balance. I mean, in as much as the initial plan was to prepare students for a digital world, let's go back. So there was a budget for hard copy books to be reintroduced in schools so students can flip. There's something that comes with, you reading print and then marking things on it. It has a way of sticking in your memory, as against just, scrolling and then things pop up, and that can even distract you. So, talking about the issue of UTME and JAM and Wike and the rest that we're having, let's not forget that a lot of students have complained about the computers, some of them not booting on time, and the fact that these things are timed. Now, not everybody has the capacity to, answer questions and cross-check within a time frame. I don't know the duration, the timing of the system, but some students have complained about these computers timing them out. In fact, I spoke with somebody who said she had answered questions but had not finished and mistakenly clicked on submit. It was a mistake. She wanted to, go to the next page, and then she clicked on submit, and before you knew it, she submitted everything. So basically, what she submitted was less than half of what she was supposed to write. That person automatically failed, not because she didn't know what to write, but because there was a mistake. And there are places in Nigeria where students have not even seen a mouse. If you go to the northern part of Nigeria, but a mouse pad. But the students are also made to write examination. So a lot more should be done in terms of, education. I understand the role of cultism. I understand the role of Yahoo. Some of these children that get into, some of these young people that get exposed to fraud and other things don't even have time to want to go to school. A lot of them. I mean, I have experiences. A lot of them don't even have an interest. I recall in sometime in 2022, I had this friend who was teaching in a school, teaching for teaching students that wanted to write Wike. So I go there. I used to go there then, helping marking their English and all of that. 2022, yeah. And there was a young man who stopped coming to school, and then we had to go to the young man's house, asking, "Dude, what's the problem? Are you okay? Exams are around the corner." And he looked at us, young boy, 2022. He said, "Look, what's he going to school for anyway? He just made 30 million naira. doing internet fraud. So what's he going to school for? Is he going to school, sit down in class and then come out and start looking for a job? If he's able to make 30 million sitting at home, why go to school? My friend and I left the house scratching our heads like, God, where do we go from here?
Where do we go from
Where do we
here?
go
That's
from
a big
here?
question. Where do we go from here? You know, I'm not sure there's any need to belabor this point because you and Fena have said all that is to be said. But I think the underlying explanation for all of this is that, one, there's a decline in our value system. Not contestable. Two, there's a decline in the level of education. So, because I say that in the light of the fact that when we were in school, also, we had distractions. There wasn't internet there, but there were other distractions like going to play football, like going to play pranks and all of that. At any point in time, there have always been distractions, you know. So, but we had values that at that time. I'm not sure that basically the problem has to do with the falling standard of education, especially at the public schools. You could also say that the private schools are doing better, much better than the public schools. But essentially, the problem, the underlying explanation for the decline, for the performance of students in the just concluded UMT examination is the fact that there is a decline in both our value system. Like Moses just said now, some of these children are no longer interested in going to school, not necessarily because they're involved in cultism or internet fraud or all of that. Again, there is also a decline. How about the teaching staff? How are they motivated and all of that? So the some explanation for what happened is that the government should look into our value system. National Orientation Agency. We keep going back to your job is cut out for you. You need to reorientate the value system of Nigerians. And your job is not to defend the policies of government. You need to tell Nigerians how to be patriotic. You need to teach them all of that. Bring back our lost values. That is the only thing that can show up patriotism. Now, that said, the Federal High Court in Abuja has set June 27 to deliver judgment on contempt claims and a preliminary objection in the suit filed by Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, Senator representing Kogi Central, challenging her suspension. And now this Natasha and Akpabio issue is yet to go away. The defendants in the suit include the Senate, Clerk of the National Assembly, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, and the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Ethics. During Tuesday's proceedings, the presiding judge, Justice Binta Yanko, stated that she will first address the contempt claim before ruling on the preliminary objection raised by the Senate President regarding the court's jurisdiction to hear the matter. I think the only thing I have here to say is that this speaks to some form of institutional capture. Natasha was suspended. I think she's been on suspension for like 2.5 months, heading to 3 months. Now, a case is in court challenging her suspension. And now the court has moved the hearing to June 27, which is more than a month now. By the time the case is heard, she will have spent like 4 months on suspension. So what is the essence? So this speaks to some form of institutional capture, if you ask me. There are people that are pulling all the strings behind. Unfortunately, I don't know the final points of the law, but I think the judge behind that is hearing this case has some kind of notoriety around her name and all of that, you know. So she's always in one, you know, in the news for the wrong reason all the time. So people begin to ask, why always you? Why always you? So, like I said again, this speaks to institutional capture. The courts have been captured, the legislature have been captured. Who is capturing? The executive itself. Nigerians have also been captured if we have to do certain things like going to London and all of that. I'm still speechless as I was when this show started.
When they say go to court, this speaks to the kind of, you know, information or judgment you get when you hear go to court. You know, I dare you get to there, and then you find out, like Chukuma rightly pointed out, it's more like every other institution in Nigeria is already captured, is already, you know, they are being held by the sensitive part. But now, if something like this can actually happen within our National Assembly up until this particular time, then that speaks more to what Nigerians are going through day by day. Yes, if a senator also can face such at this point in time, the suspension lingering for some time, even when we have the constitution that says it shouldn't be more than 14 days and all that, then we have the house rule and every other thing. I wonder when the house rule become, you know, a superior rule over the constitution of Nigeria. But all the same, if something like this can happen within the National Assembly, that shows we are really done for. But I, for what, I'm waiting to see how this whole thing turns out. I am this person that I'm the opinion that even if they say we should wait till December to see the outcome of this one, so far as they are going to be free, why unfair, why trying, or why looking into this particular case, I'm waiting for the results actually to come out. The only thing I have, as a thing that is kind of dampening my spirit is the representation of the people of Kogi Central when their own senator, who's supposed to be representing that constituency, is being suspended. If not, I would say, let's see how this pans out. Even if we weren't waiting for the whole year, I'm ready to wait for the whole year to see how this actually will pan out. After all, we're waiting for 90 days for FBI and CIA to give us the reports of what the court in Colombia asked them to do.
Oh, well, Chukuma, I don't know. Is it that when you heard that it was Justice Binta Nyako handling the case, you lost hope? Is that it?
More like I said, notoriety around her name. She's always in the news for the wrong reason.
Let's cut her some slack.
Some slacks, okay.
Yes.
I wonder how many federal high court judges that we have in FCT.
Well, I don't have the figure, but we do have quite a few of them. But she wasn't on the case initially. It was Obiora Igwatu, Justice Obiora Igwatu.
And they assigned it to her.
That was on it, but he was accused of bias. He was accused of bias, so he recused himself, and then
I'm sorry, I have to. But so they choose either. Okay, if they didn't choose her, they would have chosen Peter Lima.
Probably.
Okay.
So, but then it was handed over to Justice Binta Nyako. Oh well. Let's see how this one pans out. That's all I'll say.
Honestly.
Let's see how this one pans out. Well, I think we're done with some of these conversations. This conversation will continue, of course. We'll talk more about them when we get into newspaper review. And, of course, Nigerians will also chime in. You'll definitely hear some of these things on other programs on the station. But let's look at the papers now. Let's look at stories that made it to the cover pages of the papers. Fina, do you have papers with you?
Yeah, I do. And before us here, we have interesting, or rather, we have a whole lot of the national dailies. We have the Guardian newspaper, we have the Nigerian News Direct, and then we have also the Punch newspaper. There's also the Vanguard newspaper. Now, let's start off from the Punch newspaper. Why? Oh, okay. I guess that was for yesterday. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Mo, you can help out at this point in time, I guess.
Okay, let's see. I think I have a paper here, one I can just quickly run to. Yes. So this is Daily Post. These headlines from the Daily Post. Lagos Guba, Sheyi Tinubu, Gbajabia Mila, Alausa, Obasa, others top list as search begins. LP crisis, I will expose them. Abure fires back at Obi, others. And then we have a Benue community seeks 500 million naira over alleged quarry hazards. Investors gain 315 billion naira as NGX rebounds. EFCC arrests Lagos-based socialite Fred Ajudua. Fred Ajudua in the news after many years. And then we also have a few other headlines here. Northeast, over 20 terrorists neutralized in 1 week. Commander Abubakar. ICPC drags ministry officials to court over alleged forgery. IPPIS fraud. OT pays tributes to late commissioner, says he helped in solving labor issues. Boko Haram redeploy sufficient personnel. Senate tells Nigerian military after killing of soldiers. We close non-compliant hotels to protect students. Mawen president. All right, these are some headlines you will find in the Daily Post newspaper.
All right then, and that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines. Johnny Moses and I at 10 o'clock for expanded review of newspaper headlines. We'll go for a short break, and when we return, Wike, Umahi, and others to present Tinubu's achievements in London. Join us again.
Ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health, without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Saturday, 2 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Step into a world where stories unfold, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power to inspire. A unique interview series that celebrates the lives of Nigeria's elder statesmen and women through their remarkable journeys in the military, diplomacy, public service, academia, medicine, and beyond. Conversation that transcends generations, offering guidance to youth leaders, diplomats, technocrats, and future change makers. We unveil the wisdom, resilience, and achievements that shapes our nation and the world. Join us every Sunday on Voice of the People Television. Reminiscence, legacies that leads the way, stories that lives on.
All right, time for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike, Minister of Works Dave Umahi, and other top officials are set to present the achievements of their ministries at an international press conference in London, according to Bode Adeyemi, Project Internal Coordinator of the President Bola Tinubu Midterm Legacy Projects Review Committee. Now, the event will showcase key accomplishments of the Tinubu administration, including infrastructure development, economic reforms, job creation and security enhancement. A compendium of projects and a dedicated website will be unveiled to highlight these achievements. APC UK Chairman Tunde Doherty emphasized that the conference aims to present the true narrative of Tinubu's government and counter opposition propaganda. Now, joining us to discuss all of these in the studio here in Lagos, we have Mr. Shegu Shokbeto. Shegu is Chairman, Accountability, Candor and Transparency Network. Good morning, Shegu, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We also have Barrister Darlington Agomo. Barrister Darlington Agomo is a lawyer and VOP in-house political analyst. Good morning, Barrister Darlington. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. My pleasure.
All right, Barrister, I told you we were going to answer questions. Now it's question time.
I'm all for you.
Barrister,
Yes.
what is going on? Because I don't even know the question to ask. We have a country called Nigeria. We have here, we see our governors, we see our ministers, we see our president when he's around, we see him, you know, at least on the pages of newspaper and on TV. Sometimes he finds time to address us. But we see his ministers work, we see Umahi, we see Wike, we see his spokespersons, his handlers and all of that, trying to defend, you know, his policies, economic reforms and all of that. And Nigerians, you and I, we feel all of these things. And suddenly we are being told that they are going to faraway United Kingdom to present the achievements of this administration. To who? To the international community that feels it, or to Nigerians that don't feel it, or what? Barrister, are you able to help us understand all of this?
Yeah, Mr. Okoro, yeah, you should not be surprised. I have foretold this long ago that Tinubu is not really the Nigerian president you thought you have. He's working for Western powers. He needs their validation. And that is what he's working towards, nothing else. When David Hunde was saying it the other time, people said how, you know, you were here, you were terrorizing me to validate what David was saying. Now, have you seen the answer? He's not working for Nigeria. He needs Western power to validate his presidency. It's as simple as that. Have you ever heard of such a nonsense anywhere in the world? During campaign, it was Chatham House. During his actual presidency, it's the same UK. I mean, it sounds so funny. Do you know the most annoying part of it? They will not tell you how much they will spend in this thing. The money that will go into this thing, now nobody will tell you. Until maybe some nosy journalists will sniff it out and tell you the amount.
Okay, Barrister. Now, I'm happy that you brought in the issue of money. And we have Shegu here, who is an accountability, you know, person. Shegu, can you help us understand? Why go to London to present the president's achievements? To who? That is the question, to who? We are here in Nigeria. And we feel these things. I mean, if it's making economic progress, you and I would know. You know, by maybe there's a decline in inflation, the exchange rate is stable, you know, the interest rate is single digit and all of that. We don't see these things. So why do they need that validation in the UK? What impact is that going to make on the administration's legitimacy and how it is perceived here in Nigeria, where people feel the brunt of whatever happens in this economy?
Well, I would imagine that, you know, so to think like a defender of this government, an apologist, or to play devil's advocate, somebody would say Nigeria has a multiplicity of stakeholder groups, and that on the foreign scene, you know, we have stakeholders. You know, we have Nigerians in diaspora who they would argue, maybe don't have access to Nigerian news. I'm trying very hard. It's a very difficult job. It's a very difficult job.
In this global village we are now.
I'm looking for justification. I want to help them, but it's difficult. I mean, so I'm trying so that myself and Barrister will not be facing the same side of the bed, but it's difficult because this makes no sense. It's absolutely ridiculous, you know. I mean, just imagine that the government of the United Kingdom coming to Lagos to come and have a press conference about the performance of the UK government in the UK. I mean, it's the most outrageous.
So the people blame themselves because we saw, like the barrister rightly stated, during elections, Chatham House was, you know, visited to campaign. Let's take it back a few years when Nigeria wanted to launch. I mean, let's move it away from this administration. So it's not going to look like it's a
bashing thing.
It's this administration's thing. The previous administration also, we saw a situation whereby they wanted to commission Nigeria Air and the logo. It was taken abroad. It was taken to the UK. And then the commissioning was done. Is it that Nigerians did not speak to the government? Are they paying attention to what the people are saying? What is it with the UK and a desire to showcase things in the UK that concern Nigerians? Please try and be a devil's advocate.
I mean, it's
you'll be strengthened to do a better job.
I've given that job up. I've given that job up. It's not a job that is sustainable. I fired myself. Look, you know, on a sarcastic level, you'll say maybe the capital of Nigeria is London. You know, because you really have to think very hard as to what the obsession, you know, with London is for Nigerian politicians. And there's something that Chukwuma said that I think we must highlight. First of all, Moses, they don't care about us. They don't listen to us. Our opinion does not count, truly. You know, for one simple reason. In other parts of the world, the reason politicians listen to the cry of the people is elections. Is that they know that at the next election, if I do not act according to the wishes of the people, I'm going to be voted out. The reason Kemi Badenoch is doing everything that she's doing is because she knows that elections are going to come up and she's got to be speaking the things that she thinks that the people of the UK wants to hear. You know, so when your politicians know that the elections don't determine their fate, it doesn't determine their stay in office, they're going to ignore you. There is nothing we're going to say that is going to make any difference. Now, imagine the cost. They counted at least 5 ministers in that news item to go and have an international press conference in London. Of course, those 5 ministers are not the only people that are going to go.
Of course, yes.
Wike is going to go with his 2 sons, by the way. He's going to go with his 2 sons. Yes, I mean, it's that because that's what we've seen. It's a pattern. They're already building a succession plan for capture. They've captured, you know, the country, and they want to transfer that capture to their children. So it will become a dynasty, the Wike dynasty in Nigeria. So he's going to go with his children. All the other ministers are going to go with maybe 2 or 3 directors, you know, and so on and so forth. At what cost? You know, a ticket to the United Kingdom, don't forget, they will not fly economy. These guys are going to fly business class or first class. In fact, I'm sure they'll fly first class. Now, a first class ticket to London today, 10 million naira. 10 million naira for one ticket for one human being. And they are talking that, look, I'm absolutely certain you can't have less than 50 people on this jamboree, you know, and this ridiculous thing. So I think, I mean, look, the presidential jet is not for ministers. They will not fly unless the vice president, the senate president, or the president is going somewhere.
But we've seen the president's son use the presidential jet also to go watch president. So why won't the minister is the son
of the president, and he's
the first son. He's the first son.
He's the first son of the country, and also the acting vice president of Nigeria.
Good.
we have Comrade Uzo here joining us virtually. Good morning to you, Comrade. Good morning to you, Comrade Uzo. Yes, we'll like you to unmute your microphone so we can hear you. It's joining us from one of our outstations. All right. Well, unfortunately, we can't hear you. I know you're already, giving your view on this, but we'll come back to you in the course of the program. Let's just fix that audio problem so we can take your contribution. Well, now, Barrister, let me come back to you now. In all of this, it seems there's nothing Nigerians can do, but wait for the news of, wait for the return of the entourage to tell us what they, declared, the activities of this administration, the achievements of this administration, and we'll publish it. And we will gather here and talk about it. But in all of this, what do you think Nigerians can do? Does it?
Yes, we have sold our right for too long. It's better.
Do you honestly still think power belongs to the people?
It's a matter of time. They say necessity is the mother of invention. Nigerians initially they felt that they are safe, or their life are safe in the hands of government officials, especially of this APC. But with what APC is doing to Nigerians now, I am very sure things are going to change by 2027. They will not have it easy as they used to have it. Thank God the INEC chairman has promised of electoral reforms and all that. And so APC may be thinking that it is the business as usual, or that they are going to use talks, they are going to do what they normally do, not knowing that people are really sitting with anger over what they are doing. So the power belongs to the people anywhere in the world. In a democracy, the people hold the power. I want them to use that power now. I'm telling you. Yeah, they must. That's the only way to go. They must use that power and teach these people a lesson. A bitter lesson, yes.
No, we see that power belongs to the people, and we need to use the power to teach the people a lesson. Let me bring it to you now, Mr. Shegu Shobiton. If the power really belongs to the people, then why is it that the government don't really think about the people when they want to take or bring out policies and also carry out the policies? For example, today we learned that from Jackson, yes, we did, that we're having a life insurance. Life insurance for presidents, vice presidents, some ministers, even the chief of staff also is to benefit from this. It will be sent down to their next of kin. These are people we know actually that earn more than enough, because we don't even know what their salaries are like, as the case may be. And we also place them on salaries even when they are no longer in office. But we have to extend their life insurance now to their next of kin. Do you think that the power really belongs to the people? If I'm to...
Look, as long as we claim that we run a democracy, power does belong to the people. And it's just a matter of time. You can only push a people so far for so long. At some point, there will be consequences. It might not be today, it might not be 5 years from today, it might not even be 10 years, but it's going to happen. It's inevitable.
Since independence. Since Nigeria getting independence now, Mr. Shobi, to have so many past leaders, so many head of states passed already. How many of them have we ever heard that, been taken to court, tried for offenses that they've committed, and also being served jail time and all that?
Yeah, it's going to happen, because you can't continue like this on this trajectory in perpetuity. But for it to happen, I think for power to belong to the people, in truth, Nigerians have to stand up and say no. And I think that the starting point, I saw a video of this young guy, Peter for Nigeria, that, wrote a bill, went to Abuja to present a memorandum and a paper for amendments to the Electoral Act and to the relevant sections of the Constitution. Nigerians are just simply not tired enough. The silence that has greeted that heroic move by that guy is shocking. Because I have said that in order for 2027 elections outcome to reflect the will of the people, in order for power to actually belong to the people and for the people to have a say in the outcome of elections and the fate of politicians, which will then result in good governance, Nigerians must demand a change to the electoral laws.
Okay.
We can't have a situation where INEC decides to do whatever they want to do on whims, refusing to subject themselves to the laws that set them up. We can't have that. So the laws must be amended to remove discretion, to ensure that it is stated categorically the steps that need to be taken to ensure that elections are free, fair, credible, and transparent. That those steps are not discretionary. Those laws must happen. And if we don't push for it to happen, it's not going to happen.
Even when we have the umpire chairman being appointed by the president.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, those are the kind of changes that need to happen. The INEC chairman cannot be an appointee of the president. That makes absolutely no sense.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Shegu Chokut. I'll have to come back to you for a particular question. But for now, let's go to Oka, where we'll have Comrade Uzo Ekemeze. He's a lawyer standing by. I understand we've been able to establish connection with him. Good morning to you, Comrade Ekemeze.
Yeah, it's a very good morning.
Very well then, as we can get your audio feed. Now, I'm sure you've been following the discussion. The point here is that we have about 5 ministers who are going to the London, to the UK, you know, to conduct a press conference to showcase the achievements of this administration. What's your reaction to that? Have you heard this kind of thing before?
Well, it is a very first kind of it in the history of Nigeria. You see, Nigeria has their independence in 1st October 1960. Those can be called territorial independence, political independence, and economic independence. Nigeria has not attained to that. That's why everything that we do, we still go back to the Western world. You see, Britain, we as a colonial master, are still doing what we call re-colonialism. It's very, very pathetic that in a situation like this, Nigeria is swinging into poverty. According to the World Bank report, that Nigeria will sink more into poverty till 2027. The reason is because of structural economic weaknesses and solely dependency in oil revenue, and also natural fragility or conflict. Okay, you can see what happened in a Plateau state, where 100 people have been massacred by marauders and invaders. And Mr. President was in Paris. He could not even cut short his visit to pay comfort to the people that have been slain. Rather, he was staying in Paris, okay, trying to just enjoy himself as a 2 weeks working visit. You see, to tell you that they are the subject of the Western war. The same thing happens in River State, whereby President declared a martial law. Okay, it never happened such a thing in the history of Nigeria, whereby there will be a kind of sole administrator and also a democratic elected.
Okay. All right, Comrade Uzo, I would like for us to now. What is the nexus between this? What is happening or what is going to happen and colonialism? Do you think that there's some kind of bond between this government and the governments in Europe, especially the one in the United Kingdom and in France? Does it look like they are trying to show up some kind of, or maybe to, I'm looking for a particular word, you know, do you think that this relationship is free of any kind of strings attached to it? Must we go to London to showcase the president's achievements? Is there anything behind it?
Monumental disgrace. Okay, you know that the most colonialism in Africa is done by Britain and France, and Nigeria happened to be colonized by the Britain. You see, often a time, you see, Nigeria becomes a surrogate to the British decision. How can, okay, presidential achievement, which we know that is near to nothing, you see, can be presented to the British people? I want to know whether Nigerian capital is in London. I want to know whether the Britain are part of Nigerian citizens who have been ambushed in poverty, who have been suffering from tears and blood. A country that is flowed by oil and the mineral resources is now flowing with blood. You see, what the minister do is for them to go to London to present the presidential achievement. Because this is what we call the problem of Nigeria. That's putting up the governance. Because the governance is the problem.
All right then. Okay.
What's going to cause Nigerian what do you call it, government, because we continue to debt ourselves into this particular mess. Because the ministers, the cabinet, people that we do have appointed, even worse than president himself.
Okay, all right then. Thank you very much, Comrade Uzo Ekemeze. Please do stay with us as we bring this back to the studio. Now, Shegu, I would like for us to interrogate this connection of colonialism. Does this have anything to do with neocolonialism? In the sense that, look, most we go to London or to Paris to do all of this. Because when people talk about colonialism, have you seen, I can't recall, have you seen Paul Kagame or the president of Botswana or even Ibrahim Traore go to London or Paris to showcase his achievements? So what is the connection? What is the nexus between Nigeria? Is Nigeria the only country in Africa that was colonized? Have you seen Cyril Ramaphosa go to United Kingdom to present his scorecard and all of that? What is so special about this relationship between Nigeria? Is there anything, is there any underlying, are there undercurrents that drive this relationship? To the point that we now have, Barrister saying something about always going to Chatham House. What is it about the UK and Nigeria? Honestly,
Chukuma, as you are talking, I'm getting a bit emotional because I feel a deep sense of shame. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of my country. I'm ashamed of my president. I'm ashamed of the government. I'm ashamed of the state of this country as it speaks today. This travesty can't happen anywhere else in Africa, not to talk of in the world. You know, have you ever, just let me ask you the same question you asked me, have you ever heard of the Ghanaian president or any Ghanaian official going to, you know, anywhere in the world to deliver any kind of international conference? For God's sake, this is 2025. This is shameful. I don't know if there's any nexus to answer your question, and I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if Tinubu is an asset, according to some people, to some Western powers. I don't care. That's not my business. That's his business. I'm a Nigerian. My sense of pride is, I feel violated. That, first of all, which achievement are we talking about? Which achievement? What have they done in 2 years other than to make Nigeria worse than it has ever been in the history of this country? And then you have to take our money. Look, if you calculate the cost of this trip, we can't be talking of less than 100 million naira. We can't be talking of, what am I saying? We can't be talking of less than 1 billion naira to fund this trip, to go and announce to Nigerians in London how they failed, how they've removed subsidy, how people have gone into penury, how people are going into poverty, people are dying every day because of bad roads and hospitals. And then we're going to London to spend 1 billion naira and above. Mr. Shegu, this is shameful. If you said and we need to get angry, we need to show outrage. Mr. Shegu, this is terrible.
Doherty, who happens to be the APC chairman in the UK, is defending this particular administration. You're asking what they've done. 2 refineries now working as the case may be. Yeah, according to what he says, the private sector, private refinery is working. That's the Dangote refinery is upstream. We have a Port Harcourt and all that producing also. He went further to talk about local government autonomy and a whole lot more that he's talking about.
I mean, these guys must think we're fools. And I think, look, as long as we continue to be civil, as long as we continue to be gentle, these guys are going to continue to, I don't want to use the word. My wife has warned me to stop using certain words. It's terrible. You know, let people, sorry Moses, let people understand that as long as we keep smiling at these guys, as long as we keep excusing this travesty, we are going to be slaves in our own country. They don't care. This trip is about money for their pockets and nothing else. It's a shame.
Okay. All right, Barrister.
Yes.
Let's try and look on the positive side. If it would be nice if we can build some positive around this trip. Please, Barrister, I'd like you to come along with me. Yes, please.
The person to do that.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Now,
are you sure you're not making mistake?
I hope I'm not.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, Barrister, let's look at help us with some achievements of this administration, like the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. You know, some of it, parts of it is still under construction, but far gone. Help us with some of these achievements that might be presented to Nigerians in diaspora as part of the achievements of this administration in its first 2 years in office. Let's have something to smile home.
No, there's nothing to smile. Even the man you are talking, he knows he has failed. You know, this propaganda...
Barrister, I need you to give me some hope.
No,
renewed hope.
Hold on, I'm coming. Even the man, he knows he has failed. That's why this propaganda is ongoing. Because if you have any achievement to showcase, you showcase it to Nigerians first. We will be the one to tell the outside world that, look, what things are happening here.
But you see the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, they've gone far.
That is the height of corruption. That project you mentioned. A project that nobody costed. There was no bidding, no assessment, nothing. Somebody just woke up. In fact, there was no appropriation for that project. Are you not aware? I should celebrate corruption here because they are building a road somewhere.
Barrister, Wike and Daniel Bola say that we are deaf, dumb, and blind. Don't you think that's why they are?
They are the ones that are deaf and they are dumb. Because if they actually know, Shey will not allow them to go to London to show what they are doing in Nigeria.
So what about the IMF payments? You know, the fund.
Who told you that they cleared that debt? Who told you?
IMF told us that they paid the 3.4 billion. That
are you serious? So if you are owing 3-4 people and you paid one person, the other 3 income, right. They choose the easier way out. IMF, I think that's the least amount we are owing somewhere. That of World Bank income, China income, those ones are not debt, Abi. They have not done anything. That's why they are doing this propaganda. Quote me. Let me tell you, we are asking if there's a nurse Okoro. The reason why Tinubu is doing not, he wants to be validated. Up to tomorrow, the world will, in fact, they turn up their nose whenever they see Tinubu. That's why we pay somebody to do his PR for him. Up to tomorrow, Tinubu is struggling to be validated because from the character to his profile to his background, to everything that we now know about CSU and all that.
All right.
Tinubu is struggling for validation.
All right then.
And that's what happened to somebody who has failed.
All right then.
You'll be doing propaganda all over the place.
Well, on the live stream on YouTube, we'd like you to drop a few achievements of this administration because we'll take them at the end of the program. We need something to hold on to, something to smile home with. And say, yes, these are probably the things that will be presented in the UK as achievements of this administration. If you have details of the 25,000 naira to households, you could put that out there. If you have actual information as to those that benefited, you could put it out there. Let's start the assessment from in-house, and then we'll go outside.
Okay, Moses. That money you mentioned now, did it remove the poverty level in Nigeria? Did it? The same World Bank, you heard what they said. That the poverty is still coming, though.
Barrister, isn't that a good starting point?
What? Starting point that you are walking into poverty. By
to pay off our debts.
With debt. They have not paid anything.
The debt that they paid.
They have not paid anything.
Barrister, they paid $3.5 billion
yes,
of loans that were collected for COVID in 2020.
You, exactly.
This administration in 2 years have borrowed $10 billion.
I'm telling you.
$10 billion in 2 years.
Yes. You are not talking of that.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's not a starting point at all. No.
We have to start by holding them accountable. What has happened to the $10 billion they borrowed? What did they use $10 billion for? In 2 years. And they are telling us they paid $3.5 billion that was borrowed by Buhari in 2020.
It was COVID money that
this is ridiculous.
Buhari's administration swallowed, and we don't know where
it went.
And
we have SDR also attached to that money they paid for that also span out to 20
million naira
annually.
To keep that line open.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
They paid that money so that they can borrow more.
Yeah, we'll go for a short break, and when we return, PDP is in ICU. It may not survive if Saraki's reconciliation team fails. That is coming from former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Suswam. Join us again.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
With us is still VOP this morning. Former Benue State Governor Gabriel Suswam has warned that the People's Democratic Party (PDP) could face complete collapse ahead of the 2027 election if internal crises are not resolved. Speaking in an interview, Suswam described the party as being in a critical condition, comparing it to a patient in the ICU, that's an intensive care unit. He cited defections to APC and internal leadership disputes as a sign of deeper issues. Suswam said hope now rests on a reconciliation initiative led by former Senate President Bukola Saraki, whose success or failure will determine the party's fate in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, 3 senators from Kebbi State on Tuesday officially defected from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the All Progressives Congress (APC) on the floor of the Senate. Senators Adamu Alero of Kebbi Central, Yahaya Abdullahi of Kebbi North, and Garba Meidoki of Kebbi South are the latest lawmakers to dump the PDP for the APC, following a wave of defection that has hit the party. We still have with us in the studio Shegu Shobito, who is a chairman, Accountability Condor and Transparency Network, and will be joined by Honorable Idosa Okubo, a veteran journalist who is also the former Chief Press Secretary of the local government area. He'll be joining us from Edo State, Benin to be precise. And we still have Comrade Uzo Akemizie, who is a lawyer, also an executive country director of Maibo Empowerment Foundation. He will join us from our studios. Thank you so much, Mr. Shego, for being with us.
Thank you.
Now, Comrade Uzo, are you still with us? Thank you also for staying put, okay? Comrade Idosa Okubo, good morning. Good to have you join today's conversation. Now, let me start off with you, Mr. Shego Shobito. We are getting this is not the first time we're getting the speculation that PDP is already dead. Some said it's at the verge of collapsing and a whole lot. Even I think last time Abdullahi Ganduje took a jab on that particular party, saying that everybody in PDP will move over to APC in no distant time. Now, what does this really portend for Nigeria as a nation Some are saying that we're moving towards having a one-party state in Nigeria and a whole lot. PDP actually is an opposition party. They've been in power since for the past 16 years before APC took over. Why is it that that particular party cannot hold its own ground in being a constructive opposition to this ruling APC as the case may be?
I think that we have a fundamental problem with the structure of our democracy and our political system. And that's what we're seeing play out. How are parties funded in Nigeria? The laws that INEC is supposed to enforce regarding party funding, are they enforcing it? Parties are funded with public funds, money that belongs to Nigerian people, taxes that you and I pay. They withdraw those monies and use it to drive party activities. It's an anomaly. It's crazy, you know, and we've normalized it. The other day, President Segun Obasanjo, former President Obasanjo, was talking about how to win elections, how to win presidential elections. And one of the things that he said, you know, it was very instructive for me and it was painful because coming from a man like him and saying it as something that is normal, you know, holding it up as a strategy and the way to win elections it's tragic. Saying that you need a certain number of governors on your side before you can win elections. Why? Because the governors are the ones that will provide the resources. The foot soldiers on the one hand and the money. Which one of these governors were billionaires when they became governors? Where is that money coming? Is it from their personal purse? And why would Nigerians hear that kind of thing and keep quiet? This is our money. You know, we have problems in this country. So now the reason what's happening to PDP is simple. They are no longer the ruling party. They're not at the center. And Tinubu is a political strategist. Whatever problem you have with that guy, he's a political strategist. The guy is decimating PDP. It's like somebody, you know, is in a boxing ring. They are punch drunk. They are staggering like this. One more blow and they're on the ground. Why? River State, the two states that fund the PDP, it's been River State and Delta State. Those two states are gone. So what's left? Now, the only other voice, let's forget the money, the only other voice remaining in the PDP that has some level of strength are two people. Is one, Shola Saraki, who is literally a nobody. He's in political oblivion right now. And Bala Mohammed, the Bauchi State governor, who is very vocal, but obviously very little clout. If you take those two characters out of the PDP, who's left? And you see, I speak like this not because I'm a member of the PDP. I don't even like the PDP as a party. I don't like the APC. They are the same. But we need party system to work in Nigeria for our democracy and good governance to run. So we have to make sure that we reorganize this, develop laws that will be enforced on party funding. As long as parties are funded with state resources, public funds, then we're joking. We don't have a democracy.
If we keep on funding the parties where we do. Honorable Idosa Okubo, let's get to join the conversation. What do you really think at this point in time Nigerians should do for political scenes, you know, to stop? Yes, some persons have come up to tag the whole happenings in our political space to be everything is centered on political scene. Migration from one person to another. Do we really have political parties in Nigeria that have clear ideologies or what their party system should be like?
Thank you very much. I want to say that when you talk of party ideologies, the constitution of these political parties were almost drawn by the same personnel across the 5 first political parties that were registered in 1999. The ANPP, the PDP, the AD as at then, and 2 others. So I really can't get their name now. So these parties, their constitution was drawn by the same practitioners. So this cross-fertilizing now does not give room for political ideology at all. He doesn't give room for it. But what is important is that the politicians knows their onions, and they say in politics, your personal interest is the number one issue. The other ones are just no permanent friend, no permanent enemy. That's why you can have, today you can be in APC, tomorrow you are in PDP, next tomorrow you are in Labour Party. No, it's like that. So until we go back to the principle of 1979, where you have the UPN, the NPN, the NNPP, the PROP, and the GNPP. That was the last time we have political ideology. It doesn't follow again. That time is very easy for you to know. UPN will tell you is free education, free health, rural development, electricity, this and that. NPN will tell you green revolution. They want to feed the nation. GAPP will come with corn as their symbol that time, because agriculture is their main focus. But today, what do you have? You have umbrella, you have broom, you have chicken. You have
Comrade Okumbo. Those things, were they actually ideologies or were they programs? And I'd like for you to tell us, do you think that Nigeria of 79 to 83 is better than Nigeria of 1999 to 2025? How do you place it?
100% better.
Okay.
In that time, it would be misnomer for a Jakande or Ambrose Ali to even envisage decamping to NPN, because NPN was government in the federal level. It will never happen. Or Abubakar Rimi, or PROP, or Balarabe Musa.
But you recall that do you recall that there was also an alliance between the NPP and the NPN at the federal level at that time?
Yes.
So, okay,
yes,
so was that some kind of marriage of ideologies, ideological differences, or what?
Well, it was kind of, it worked for them.
Okay.
It worked for them.
But in all of this, the military struck in 1984, yes, when they said, look, and I don't know if you have read Shagari's book. If you read Shagari's book, you understand that everything Shagari complained about between 1979 and 1983 is what we are seeing today. So what is the difference?
Yes.
You also talked about, we see some people going to London now, to conduct a press conference. Shagari complained. I remember that very well in page 74 of that book, Beckon to Serve. He said that, look, that legislators were taking trips to the United States of America to do what? To study the presidential system of government. That they were even making approvals of monies to themselves without making recourse to the executive and all of that. So what has changed?
That is the presidential system of government we found ourselves. Okay. Today, I just read that some ministers are going to London to showcase the present government achievements. Whereas we in Nigeria, the publicity is not there. We don't even know. If not that people like us who are in the profession, by virtue of our professional callings, we won't know what has transpired in this government in the last 2 years. But that does not mean to say that they have not done anything. But the issue we are talking about, cutting cost governance, that's what Shagari was saying. What made the military to strike at that 1983 was the ostentatious living of the then Minister of Finance, the Senate President, late Joseph Wires, Umaru Diko, and others, and even the national chairman of APN.
Honorable Joseph, with what is happening now in 2025, are we seeing any difference? Yes. And if we're not seeing any difference, then why is it that things are still the way it is? Why are we not getting the people, who spoke during the time of the Shagari now? talk at this point in time.
Unfortunately, Nigerian politicians don't learn lesson. They don't look at the past. They look at the present. And I want to say, those who talk, those who were speaking for us that time, many of them are no more. Where are the Beckos?
All right then.
Wole Soyinka, many of them, they have all gone. Age has also taken a toll on them.
Well, we have a
The few you have now
might speak. We have you too. You know, we have some Nigerians like you that should be speaking.
Yeah.
But
where's the channel? The channel.
You are VOP. You can go to the streets as well. So, well, anyway, let's bring Comrade Godspar. I beg your pardon. Let's bring Comrade Uzo Ekemeze into the conversation from our Orca studio. Comrade, now with what we see play out in the PDP, especially with the fact that Wike has gone back home, basically. Well, he never left anyway, but he's gone back to say, look, let's build the PDP. If the PDP wants to grab power in 2027, it should field a candidate from the South. He's making himself, he's putting himself out there in the PDP. We also have seen how some governors in the PDP have, one way or another, endorsed Tinubu for 2027. Akwa Ibom State Governor, one of them, he said, look, he gives a thumbs up to Tinubu in 2027. With these people in the PDP, do you think that the actions of Bukola Saraki will make headway, or should we just close the chapter on the PDP and look at another party?
Very well, thank you very much. It is seasons of defections. If I may ask, who is PDP and who is APC? APC is PDP, PDP is APC. Both of them are equal and opposite. That is said. Saraki, that is championing the reconciliation to bring PDP back to its feet, okay, was former PDP, then to APC, back to PDP. Wike, who has become a serial betrayer, that talking in two sides of mouth, okay, has been in PDP, now having a footed leg in APC, and also serving his own masters. You see, when you forget to build the ideology of a political party, then when you left that particular ideology, you see, and become weird belly-faced politician, because what they're talking about now is getting up for 2027 general election. Let me just remind you quickly, okay, that all what APC is saying about PDP is true. And what PDP is saying about APC, all of them are true. Both of them are equal and the opposite. Is the PDP tells us, is maybe they drive their motto from the Nigerian Constitution as amended in section 14, so 1 and 2, that power belongs to people in whom the government drives its authorities and power. I want to ask PDP, do they have that power? Do they have that internal democracy where people's voice will be heard, where people's mandate will be upheld? If not, why is it that crisis? Then APC has ended up telling us that they bring change, okay, scientifically, that is their motto, change. Is it that change would they bring and tell us that $1 should be equal to $1? Okay, for 10 years to 12 years now, has $1 become 1 naira? Has they done that? Bible tells us in the book of Proverbs chapter 23, verse 22, that beware of those who come up for change, because the calamity will come to them on our way. That's what will happen now in Nigeria. My friend said about in 1979 we have NNPP, UPN, MPP, PRP, Waziri, Ibrahim, okay, all of them and this political party, Namazi Kiwo, Awolowo, Shagari, all these is people that will have that then the political party have ideology. Okay, defection is from one party to another. It means that the person has already betrayed his loyalty, is to the party, because he doesn't think about the people that are giving him the mandate. Rather, where he wants to go is for him to go and serve his own himself from the external failure. You see, going to APC. Now, people are coming to APC from one state to another, from one senatorial district to another. You see what is going to happen in APC. It's going to implode and explode. Let me just tell you one thing. You see, because the government that does not respect the rule of law, okay, one is then to respect the rule of law, because rule of law is the rule of force. You see, as Aristotle say, that if the great man from rule of law and justice, he becomes the worst beast. Even right, to make it clear, more abundantly clear, that separate man from law, okay, he becomes the worst beast of animal. Is it right, to understand that if the people that is a big political party having their ideology to protect the people that have given them their mandate, they won't have any cause to defect. APC has succeeded making PDP a spinal and make Labour Party their housemate. And that's why you can see all these crises, because Tinubu is looking at the strategy.
All right.
In the government that
all right, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Godspar. I beg your pardon, Comrade Ekemese. Let me bring this back to the studio now. Now, some have said that politicians have prophesied during campaigns, but we just laugh over some of these things. You know, we take them as jokes. Somebody did say at a campaign ground, PDAPC. You remember that statement? Yeah. PDAPC. And we laughed that it was a mistake, but we are seeing PDAPC come together. Now, but are you afraid? Are you with some Nigerians that are afraid of the possibility of a seeming one-party state? Now, I use the word seeming one-party state because we might have other parties still viable, but then if the powerhouses in those parties align with one party in power, then what would you speak of the viability of these parties, really?
Look, the powerhouse of any political party are the people. It's not some money bag thief, plutocrats that are taking our money, public resources, to run their own political ambition and personal political agenda. There are no powerhouses anywhere. Moses, I make bold to say to you, Nigeria can never be a one-party state. If the president uses the instrument of coercion, as he's doing now, to compel people to defect to the APC, and there is nobody else left in the PDP, the president will be thrown out of office by the people. It's inevitable. Look, when the PDP was reigning supreme and everything looked rosy, they boasted that they were going to rule Nigeria for 60 years. Where are they now? They are the ones who are now talking about them being in ICU. Why? The people. At the end of the day, it was the people. And for some reason, the APC now, you know, politicians are incredibly, let me be charitable, let me choose my words. They are extremely foolish because they repeat the mistakes of history. It's shocking that the same people that were instrumental in kicking the PDP out today, who also told the PDP that you cannot rule for 60 years, are now acting as if Nigeria belongs to them. It does not. Oh, okay. It's an illusion.
All right.
It's an illusion.
I'm happy that you brought us to this point.
Sure.
Now, you talked about this thing not being possible, that PDP was kicked out by the people, that the people had a leader in the mold of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, if you look within the political environment, do you see somebody in that mold of Bola Ahmed Tinubu who is able to muster, mobilize anti-forces, you know, to also throw away the APC?
What happened? Okay. I'm so sorry I can't wait to jump in on your question. Okay. What happened in 2023 is unprecedented. It's never happened in the history of this country. We need to understand it. Okay. It was a movement of the people. And the only reason that movement of the people did not eventually lead to the outcome that the people wanted was state capture, right? And the people are aware of this. Okay. That personality is still active. There is a lot going on in the background. Let me tell you. See what is happening now. The APC has decimated the Labour Party. They are decimating the SDP. They are moving forces into the SDP to ensure that the SDP, which appears to be a potential platform to provide credible alternative platform to fight the APC, they are already moving in. Very smart in their mind. But let me tell you, the people cannot be thwarted. And I'm saying this, look, the only thing that can stop the people are the people themselves. If we fail to recognize our power and take it, one. If the people that are, you are right, there has to be a leadership of some sort. So if the people that are blessed with the emotions of Nigerians today are unable to strategize effectively, learn from the errors they made in 2023, then we may have a problem. But from what I see around me, from some of the things that I'm privy to, a lot is happening.
Okay, some of the people, let's talk about the people.
Yeah.
Do you see that kind of leadership in the person of maybe Nasir El-Rufai, an Atiku Abubakar, Because we are looking for a mobilizer now, somebody who can mobilize the people to action.
In 2010, I think it was, or was it 2012? I can't remember the exact year. Covenant Christian Center had the platform. They have this annual event they call the platform.
Okay, Boju Oyemade. Is it Boju?
Yes, Boju Oyemade.
Okay.
And at that platform, that particular one, I think it was 2010, I'm not sure. Peter Obi spoke and just talked. He just spoke from the heart. I talked about the things he did in Anambra State. That guy captured the imagination of Nigerians in a manner that no politician has ever done. And I dare say, nothing has changed about him. Forget all the rubbish that political acolytes are saying. The guy represents the kind of candor that ordinary Nigerians are looking for in their political leadership.
Now, before we
and it's still there.
Okay.
Sorry. So I'm saying that Peter Obi needs to get his act right.
Okay.
Very quickly.
Now.
And take full advantage of the energy of the people that is still with him in aligning the platform, because without the platform you can't win an election.
Exactly where I'm coming to now. You've said the parties are being decimated, and then we don't have an independent candidate cannot run.
Sure.
So, if, for example, someone like Peter Obi or Peter Obi himself feels they could muster, support under what platform? Already decimated platforms, or should we now see the INEC create an opportunity for independent candidates to run? What is the way forward?
That's why I talked about strategy and leadership that Chukwuma, referred to. The reason the Labour Party lost the election in 2023 was just a lack of leadership. It was because in the critical places where regain was going to happen, Labour Party did not have boots on ground. That's all. And because the party itself was kind of compromised, right? So what has Peter Obi done in 2 years to clean up that platform? Because he needs a platform. He can't go into the SDP. The SDP is just a mirror image of the APC. He can't go there. He has to stay in the Labour Party and fix it. There are talks about ADC. There are a couple of other platforms that are unsolid. They are untainted. They are fresh. But I think that the work will be too much. I think that it will be unrealistic. And I'm saying this, and it's important for people to understand this. I'm not saying this necessarily because I'm supporting Peter Obi as a person. I'm saying this because Nigeria needs vibrant alternative. What has happened in the last 2 years has shown us that this is not the answer. This is not where we're going, right? So for us to get that vibrant alternative, the only other one that we can see on the horizon today is Peter Obi. I can't see anybody else. So I'm hoping, look, whether he wins or not, I pray and I hope that he gets his act right and provides a credible alternative again in 2027, so that Nigerians can choose.
Can't remember.
I'm not
obedient.
I'm not obedient. I'm not a party. I'm not the party that I belong to. Let me shock you. I belong to a party called the Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party. Guess who the chairman and the founder of that party was? Tope Fasua. Where is Tope Fasua today? He's telling us that $1 is enough to feed Nigerians. I mean, look, this country is a joke. Yes. So I'm not speaking because I'm a member of any political party. I think that for Nigeria to make progress, we need credible leadership in a political figure that will lead with frugality. See, the waste, look at this London thing, this travesty, is an example of how horrible where we are now today. And we're powerless. Would that kind of thing happen under Peter Obi? Can that kind of thing happen under Peter Obi? Let Nigerians ask themselves.
But
a man that used to go to petrol station to buy petrol.
But people have come up to say that such
cars.
a thing also will not so make him to be the president. Recall the mantra, shishi we know they give. And people have faulted that.
That's what I'm saying. He needs to fix
are.
this shishi thing.
All right, let's move on to another conversation. Gentlemen, we'd like you to stay with us as we get into another conversation, the last conversation for today. World Bank has called for complete transfer of fuel subsidy gains to Federation accounts. Let's talk about this when we come back. Join us again. Well, the World Bank has called for the complete transfer of revenue gains from the removal of the fuel subsidy to the Federation account, emphasizing that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, began remitting these funds only in January 2025, despite the subsidy removal occurring in October 2024. The bank's Nigeria Development Update NDU report stressed the need to resolve net arrears and channel the full subsidy reform benefits to the Federation for effective fiscal management. The report also warned against the overly ambitious revenue assumptions in the 2025 budget, highlighting potential fiscal deficits and urging greater expenditure efficiency and transparency. Oh well. We have the gentleman with us, Segun Shokwita. We also have Comrade Uzo Ekemezie and Honorable Edosa Okubo. Oh well, let's take this one to Honorable Edosa Okubo. Honorable, you had the monologue, and are you shocked that the benefits from subsidy removal just started being remitted into the Federation account? But what are your thoughts on this? Let's start off with that.
It's very, very unfortunate that NNPCL has become a bone in the throat of Nigeria. It's the biggest scam, the biggest problem happening to the nation called Nigeria. The president declared on May 29, I'm sure that's what we are trying to say, not October 24th, on May 29, 2023, when it was inaugurated, that subsidy was gone. Yes, we know that reforms come with hardship. Before they say there's darkness before the light at the end of the tunnel. Nigerians, I think for 2 years now, it's time that we begin to reap the benefit of the fuel subsidy removal. But Nigerians being what they are, our political actors being what they are, they will always find a way to thwart whatever the intentions of the government is that will get to the common man on the table. Today I hear Dangote slashes fuel price by 35 naira, by 50 naira, but still go to filling stations. I just bought fuel before I came here at 9.20 a liter. It's not supposed to be so. What is the problem? The marketers cannot come into agreement with the NNPCL then they will tell you about the landing costs, even the naira for petroleum products.
Sudanite refinery.
The local refinery has not reflected, which is supposed to affect the prices of goods and services. That's not reflected, because until that kaba in the NNPCL is broken, it's going to be business as usual. Ojulari that just been brought in is promising changes and everything, but what has happened to audit reports that was carried out before the exit of Mele Kyari? Until those things are sorted out. So the World Bank, yes, they are talking from their perspective of what is supposed to be done. But we have a country like Nigeria that does things the other way. So that is the issue.
Okay.
Everything is being hit on the president, the governor, this and that. But these people surrounding, who are supposed to be the food soldiers, what are they doing? They are the one thwarting the effort, everything. So most times I disagree with people who criticize president, criticize governor, this and that and that. But the truth must be said. Until we go to the basis and find solution to this problem.
All right, thank you very much.
We'll just be dealing with World Bank figure, the dictator, inflation has dropped.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Honorable Okumbo. Now, let me bring this to the studio before we go to Oka, where Uzo Ekemezie is. We saw that after the announcement that subsidy removal was first subsidy was gone, the monies that got to state increased, the allocation to state increased. But if the World Bank is saying start now remitting funds into the federation account, and the question on my mind is, where did the money come from? The ones that were going to states.
My suspicion is that there's an error in the World Bank report. In fact, we have to insist on believing that there's an error in the World, because if what the World Bank is saying is correct, then Nigeria is a fraud.
But they've been giving us loans, so they probably
are
privy to some information.
Should know. That's why I think that it's an error, because subsidy, we know. Nobody needs to tell us. We know that subsidy was removed in May, on May 29th, because by June 1, petrol prices tripled. Yeah, tripled to about 600 naira. So, and then we know where we are now. So we know subsidies went, and we know that we saw FAC allocation reports that showed monies being increased. Well, it doubled. The monies basically doubled, the money that was shared. So there's a problem with that report, but the point they're making is fundamental. And I think that we, again, this is where Nigerians are failing as a people. How can the government have the audacity and the boldness to remove subsidies that literally pauperized majority of Nigerians, wiped out the middle class, created poverty, people died, people literally, human, physical lives were lost as a result of this policy. And there is no accountability of any sort. None. So what you get is a FAC allocation report that shows that monies are being allocated, and then the president is boasting that the states are getting more money. Look, if the president was serious, if he's a serious leader, what he should be doing is providing accountability structures, tracking structures to show how much money, how much money have we saved in 2 years? It's been 2 years. In precise numbers, how much money in total has Nigeria saved by no longer paying subsidies? The president owes us that information. How much has each state gotten in total till today? The president owes us that information. Then Nigerians deserve to now know from every single state what they've done with that extra money. And the federal government itself must also tell Nigerians what it has done with its own extra, because the federal government is also getting more.
All right,
so is it Calabar that's
the man from Accountability Condor asking for accountability? Well, over now to Comrade Uzo Ekemeze. Let's have your overview.
Thank you very much. The issue of what World Bank says concerning fuel subsidy, you could recall that in May 29, 2023, I mean, Mr. President says in his inaugural speech that subsidy has gone. Gone where? Tell us where it has gone so we can be able to find it. What happened to the subsidy? What are the indices and indicators that subsidy is gone? For barely 2 years now, and you go to that filling station that we are in Lagos, and you still buy fuel at 960, 930 naira. The same place in the whole, nation. Okay, there's no any reflection of this subsidy removal. Okay, to the poor masses. Who are direct consumer of this? You can tell me the town with that number. They will tell you that NNPC Port Harcourt has resumed work operation fully. Warri Refinery has resumed operation. So we go to Kaduna. How many times do we have resumption? Starting from when Kimbe Kachuku was the Minister of Petroleum. Okay, NNPC is resuming work operation. I want to let you know, it's until when we tell ourselves the truth. This government that we are having now, according to Aline Dume, is a government of kakistocracy and autocracy. That is a government of worst of it all.
All right then.
So
all
now,
right, thank you very much, comrade. Thank you, comrade Ekemeze. We are out of time, unfortunately, and we have to end this conversation. Thank you very much for your presence on VOP this morning. And I'll take that as a concluding thought. Now, Shegu, before we leave, I would like for you are into transparency and accountability. Can you, in like 1.5 minutes, tell us how accountable? Okay. Let me rephrase the question. These monies that we are looking for, that World Bank is saying remit, who should give account for it? Right, is it the Minister of Petroleum, who is the President? Is it the Federal Minister of Finance? Is it the CBN? Or is it the NNPCL? All
right, before you react to that, let's quickly take responses from our viewers. Let's see how many we can take before we wrap up the show. All right, Fina, do you have those responses?
All right, this first one is from a Nigerian, and the man says, I'm not going to read that out. Free Fred or more for an achievement, looting, a rich soccer, total failure. The president's admission have nothing to offer. Oh. And another one says, Uche, we're shame to our Progressives Congress.
Okay.
These will face the consequence at any time, appropriate time. Karma is real.
All right, what we asked for earlier was, activities, things that the government has done that we can say, yes, these are things that we can be proud of. But we're getting, jobs.
What you're getting is what the government deserves. The reason people are saying what they're saying is because that's what they feel and that's what they see, right? So to answer your question, Chukuma, very quickly, I know we're running out of time. What should happen? Look, if this government was a serious government, a government that genuinely wants to change Nigeria, and you took a decision that was that difficult, okay, I don't believe in that. I will always say it everywhere that I have the opportunity to speak. I don't think it was necessary, but it's been done, and you can understand the reasons for it from an economic perspective can be understood. Okay, you've made the savings. What a government that is serious should do is that the Federal Minister of Finance, not the CBN governor, not the Minister of Petroleum, not NNPCMD, the Federal Minister of Finance should provide monthly briefings on subsidy spending, subsidy savings spending.
Okay.
To show Nigerians that this is the amount of money that we've shared this month, and this is what each state got, and this is what the money is being used for.
Okay, all right then.
That is absolute.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shegu Shopwito. This is where we have to round off this conversation. We'll be speaking with Mr. Shegu Shopwito, who is the Chairman, Accountability, Candor and Transparency Network. Thank you, Shegu. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me
this morning. We also had Comrade Uzo Ekemeze, who joined us from Oka and is the Executive Country Director, Mwibo Empowerment Foundation. Thank you very much, Comrade Uzo Ekemeze. We also had Honorable Edosa Okumbo, a veteran journalist and former Chief Press Secretary, Oredo Local Government. Gentlemen, thanks for your presence on VOP this morning. We appreciate it. Now, on behalf of the backroom staff and my colleagues here, Moses Humphrey and Fiona Okechukwu, I am Chukwuma Okoro. Join Moses and I at 10 o'clock for newspaper review. Bye for now.